board got together, and our conversation was about quality, how to address it, and on a national level they're pushing it, and they're also, how can we help, and it was really a great conversation. I had probably one of the best times in I don't know, top 15 best times with that board and all the brewers from across the country that were here. It was really fantastic. I made every effort to hang out with them. But it was fun, and they have a lot of resource.
Oh, that's
and
nice.
Heather and I and Sean and the whole board, which is made up of Joel from Foundation and Andy from Gagans, Tina Lonnie, she's on the board as well. Who else is on there? Win, Jason from Allagash. And all of us are really jazzed up about really pushing the quality issue. Because there's a lot of startup small breweries that they just don't know where to start, where the resources are. And so I guess I got kicked off on that because Fry's Leap's come a long way, and the quality push that we have with the labs and all the steps that we take to make it better. I think it's really important that people do that, particularly with all their beers, but really their flagship beers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that
Definitely.
that's fabulous.
Good. I'm sorry. I just had an inspiration of a
Go
good
for it.
example. My partner Tim texted me from one of our brew pubs and showed me this flat beer. And he's like, I just stirred my finger in it, and this is what it looks like. And I'm like, he goes, I just made the executive decision to pull it and tap another keg. And my response was, anyone in our company has that executive decision to pull that beer and make sure it's right. And he's like, yeah, you're right. You're right. I just, sometimes it's all a cost thing. It's like,
Right.
it costs too much, but it doesn't cost nearly as much as you making a flat beer
Right.
that someone's going to have for the first
Serving.
time, and then they experience it, or an off flavor.
Right.
So I would suggest that to anyone, is that it's not an executive decision. It is everybody's decision.
I think that's a wonderful philosophy to have. I do love this beer. Both Jane and I said that we have this sitting in our fridge right now at home.
We do.
But I'm excited to try another.
What is this?
You're ready to move on?
I
Little
am.
That is
Ditty in this
Draft
glass.
Hop Swap.
draft hops?
And I also have a can here for audio effects.
Okay. Oh, very nice.
This is our first 16-ounce can.
Ah, I like
Hop
that.
Swap, limited edition. We did 450 cases. Did 120 barrels. So we're tasting it in draft. So what's cool about Hop Swap is it's the same base IPA recipe that we've done year after year, but we swap out the hops.
This is a great
so-
smell.
We've done a lot of different varieties, different hops, and it's nice because we do a bunch of single hop pale ales to test these hops and how they work in bitterness, aroma, and mouthfeel
like
and
that.
flavor, and then they kind of end up in the Hop Swap later on. And if you read on the can, it says Hop Swap subject to change.
I like that a lot.
When the TTB read it, the Tax and Trade Bureau, when we were getting the label approved, they're like,
Oh, no.
"Oh, what's going to be in that area?" It's subject to change. Well, what is going to end up in that area?
The words.
I said the name of the beer is Hop Swap. We swap out the hops, so the hops are going to change. So when I say subject to change, it's literally subject to change. And I had to send a memo and sign it, and it was funny.
Ew, big beer drinkers, huh?
Well, they need to have it
Very
be lined up,
literal, right, yes.
right in
Yeah.
the columns.
Yep.
So brewed with an ever-changing blend of hops, enjoy the evolution. Hop Swap.
Yeah, I think that's quite tasty. I like the bitterness that
And the
is there.
aroma.
Yeah,
I really like the can, though.
it's sexy, isn't it?
It is. It's very minimalistic, but punchy. There's like this green color on it. If you
Yeah,
want to
I
check
know.
it out, you can
Yeah.
go over to our Instagram account. But
And the
it's
fact that it's 16 ounces is exciting.
yes.
And it's only $10.99 for a 4-pack.
there you go.
Imagine that.
Now I know that you folks distribute outside of Maine. Does the Hop Swap go outside of Maine as well?
Yes,
Nice. How
It will
far
be
do you
in-
go out?
definitely New Hampshire, definitely Connecticut, definitely in Mass. We sent a little bit to Rhode Island, maybe 20 cases.
It's a little
and
state.
six kegs. Really, all of our beer could be sold in Maine, and a little bit in New Hampshire. New Hampshire's our biggest growing market. It's been awesome. We have a great wholesaler statewide, and they're fantastic. So couldn't be more pleased. Back to the Hop Swap beer. This has Hallertau Blanc, which we're going to taste a single hop pale ale with those same hops, Racau, Equinox, and a little bit of Amarillo. There's a really significant aroma that comes from the Hallertau Blanc and Equinox blend. Can you pick it up? I'll just give you guys a description. They're both covering their noses, sniffing the beer. It's really amazing.
trying.
It's an action.
It is both happened on both
Yeah.
for both of us.
It's good. Little
I
swirl
was just
knocks the
copying you.
volatile, the aroma from the hops.
I think my nose is broken today.
I'm not really skilled at tasting
It's
and smelling
really
individual
It takes a lot
scents
of
and
practice.
tastes.
It takes a lot of practice.
Yeah.
And I have a new employee brewery tour, and they all want me to touch them on the shoulder, and they instantly know how to smell and taste beer. But it takes practice. You have to do it all the time. We do our sensory evaluation on a weekly basis. We smell, we taste, we compare, we test, and it takes practice.
I'm normally pretty good at the smelling part, but I do think that there might be something wrong with my nose today. I walked in and all I smelled was bread. I was like, I'm at a bread factory.
It was the malt.
Yeah,
Well, the
it's malt.
Hallertau Blanc comes off with a lot of green pepper or a bell pepper. And then the Equinox has a little bit of garlic in it. And you'll get a little bit of that. So this particular hop swap isn't the Citra Simcoe Amarillo bomb that it was 2 years ago. And I love the nuances of these different hops because there's no beer currently with that very unique blend of hops. So
That is
really
a-
get it while you can, because otherwise we're not going to do it again. We're going to brew them twice a year, same hop blend, and then that'll be it. And I think doing it twice a year as opposed to once a year, people have a chance to go, oh, I kind of like that. I want to try it again.
Right.
And then it gives us time to sort of split it up in different seasons
Yep.
and, you know, offer some variety at the brew pubs and offer some variety to some of the specialty beer counts. This stuff isn't in Hannaford or you know, Rite Aid. It is at the beer cellar, craft beer cellar, RSVP, Friendly Discount, Oak Hill Beverage, all are like special.
He's naming all the local beer places, folks.
Right. And, you know, I can't forget someone, right? Like Rupers and Bootleggers and Tully's. I mean, I can't. Now I've screwed myself. 'Cause I
Yeah,
have
now
to
you got to
sell
keep
everyone.
going.
Yeah.
Just keep
It's like
going.
your
Oh, man.
acceptance speech.
Yeah, you should just get down one knee and say,
All are great customers.
yes, wonderful. Yeah, no, now that you're kind of...
Well, yeah, now that you've said it, I'm
Oh,
yeah,
the
sure,
cat's
I
out of
smell
the
it.
bag.
But
These
it's
guys.
really, it's subtle. I was looking for something big
No,
in your
it's
face, and it's a subtleness. And
great.
whenever I think of green pepper, it does come off a really subtle flavor. And what I like about the fact that you were talking about the seasons, I drink my beer with the seasons. There are some beers that kind of rise above the seasons, but like I like darker beers in the winter, lighter beers in the summer. But what I like is you also eat different food during different seasons. So being able to see how this plays off some of those different things like fajitas or, you know, a stew or a chili or something, depending on when you're eating.
Comes at it, but this would be good with kohlrabi. This would be good with sausage and kale soup. But
Oh, I love kale soup. To the next beer?
Sure.
right there,
Right there.
here I got fresh
Oh, more
glasses.
glasses,
for
good.
these
Lovely.
lovely ladies.
So we're looking at the Bonfire Rye.
Bonfire Rye.
Bonfire Rye.
You said you like to drink seasonally. Here it is.
I do.
This right here is one hell of a beer.
So do you think this would be a good
And the
one to
color.
go to a bonfire party on the ice?
Hell yes. So let's just talk about this beer. It's really,
Absolutely.
it's really
The color.
special. So we did a rebranding 2 years ago, and we wanted to do a fall seasonal. For years we had done our local harvest, but it would come out so late. It would come out behind all the pumpkins, and it just would come too late. When we were talking about this in early summer of 2013, Rusty, who's one of our brewers, he's fantastic. He's chef. Great brewer. He's worked at several breweries and some killer restaurants, and has a really great talent for merging food with beer. And he loves rye, which is scary for some consumers. But this beer was to be sort of a beer that you could have on a hot summer night and a cool fall evening. And the way we describe it is, if you smell it, you smell a lot of pine and citrus from the Citra. It's got a lot of English crystal malts in it, so it has that nice light, nice amber color. Not quite a brown ale, more of an ESB. Nice crimson. There's some red crystal in there. It's really nice, and the head's it's tan. You can see that. And then some rye, and it's a beautiful beer.
It is
but
beautiful.
So the aroma is pine. It's like a walk in the woods. You smell the pine and the citrus, and then you get a lot of earthiness and the caramel notes. It reminds me of Mackworth Island in Falmouth. You walk out there, you get a lot of pine. There's earth. There's sea. There's a lot going on.
There's the fairy houses.
There's fairy houses. There are.
There are. There's a whole village.
There's a small village of fairy houses.
Things you know when you have small children.
So don't sip this. Drink large quaffs.
Okay, I can do that.
I always tell that to people that I teach about drinking beer, is that you don't like this.
I don't think I've ever
Because what you
drunk
do
a
is
beer
it goes.
like that.
I would never say you would. I would only say you did it just right. Perfectly perfect in every way. Little swirl, little smell, and and then you taste nice caramel sweetness and some spiciness from the rye. Some people have told me they're a little nervous about rye.
I love rye bread. Not that that has
I
anything
know,
to
but
do
they
with
sort
beer.
of think that, and they think fennel, and I don't like that. It's like a cilantro. It's like something I love or I hate.
I see. Right.
And rye, the rye in beer doesn't do that. Rye, it gives it a lightness. It sticks your mash if you screw with it too much. We had some struggles with that, but that's a brewer's note.
I will talk on behalf of the Bonfire Rye. I cannot stand fennel. There is not even a hint of that particular taste in this, like, at all. It's delicious, and you're right. If you take a big sip, it's a little spicy and poppy.
It's not fennel, but people think rye.
Fennel's
they
the
think
black
fennel seed.
licorice one, right?
Yeah,
Ooh, I
fennel
hate
seed.
black licorice, and there's nothing like that.
No,
in this
nothing.
beer.
Like,
But, when you're selling a product, you have to be aware of what people are going to... And they see rye, and they're
Associate.
like, what's that?
Right. Yeah.
But rye is great in beer,
yeah.
yeah.
just like it's great in whiskey, too.
Maybe that's why my husband really likes rye beers.
Does he like whiskey?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I like old fashions.
Oh, his brother really likes old fashions.
Want one more beer?
Sure. So I think this is a great beer to segue into our second round, which is all about cans. You guys made this huge transition, and I knew that you were transitioning into cans, but when I walked in, one of your gentlemen out in the brewery told me, you're done with bottles. Like, you are done.
Bottling lines in Maryland.
Yeah, so that's crazy to me. Can you tell me, like, actually, let me back up just 1 second. When I first approached you about being on this show, I came up to you and said, I'd like you to talk about this, and you said, no. I want to talk to you about transitioning to cans. I said, okay. So you obviously are very excited about this.
A lot of change going on.
Yeah.
I feel like Sebago has changed so much in the past 4 years, and the decisions are exponential, and that's why I want to sort of throttle growth, but it kind of takes hold, growth and what's happening, and it creates a lot of choices. But the can piece was really an internal thing, affected by external pressures, which is really interesting. We've always grown between 12 and 18%. Last year, I had my local wholesaler, Nappy Distributors, come over. We're talking about our beers, and we had 6 packs of bottles and 4 packs of bottles for the hop swap and stuff. Rebranding, really trying to get them excited. We have a new sales team, and I just hear, Kai, when are you guys gonna go to cans? And we're literally standing in the brewery, and I take my 2 hands like I'm doing now, and I go like this. I point over at the bottling line. I go, I have a bottling line. Do you need another SKU, or item to sell from Sebago? Because we have a lot of groundwork we can do. We can still move some product or move our beer and get in distribution points. And they're like, well, no. But, it's really the canned beers are really moving and this and that, and I was like, oh well, but I have a bottling line.